Hi, this is Professor Miller, and I am going to demonstrate Word Project 1 for the CGS1100 course at St. Petersburg College. We are using Microsoft Office 2016. The skills that we're going to cover are opening and editing a document, changing the line spacing and the paragraph spacing, using the show hide or the paragraph marker button, changing the font sizes and colors, cutting and pasting text, using the format painter, adding document properties, and using the spelling and grammar checker. So I have my document open here, and the first thing that I'm going to do, since I already have my document open, I can skip steps 1 and 2, and I'm going to press Control and the A button at the same time within my document, and that selects all of the text. And then I'm going to open the paragraph launcher, which is this little box right here in the lower right-hand corner of the paragraph box on the Home tab. And I'm going to change the line spacing to multiple. And I'm going to change the at to 1.2. And I'm going to change the after over here to 12 points. So we're adjusting the spacing for the entire document. And then I'm going to click OK, and that changes the spacing. The next thing I'm going to do is, if my paragraph marker is not turned on, I'm going to click that Show Hide button to show all my extra paragraphs, and I'm going to go through and delete them all one at a time. I do have to go down through the document to delete them. And this takes just a moment. And that's the entire document. Now, I don't have those extra paragraphs. I've done it by my actions in step 3. And I always, on a regular basis, will go to File and Save, just to be sure that I'm not losing my work, although I do have the auto save turned. Actually, I have it turned off. So I'm going to turn it on. And then on step 5, we're going to select the entire document again with Control A, and we're going to change the font from Calibri to Cambria. And notice when I hit that drop down arrow, I can just type Cambria. I can just type the first 3 or 4 letters, and Cambria will come up. And then I'm going to go to page 2 of my instructions and step 6. So I didn't change the font size, I just changed the style. And then I'm going to go up and select online learning. Notice that I'm selecting the paragraph for online learning by clicking in the left margin. And then I'm going to go to the layout tab. And this is a different way to change the spacing. I'm going to change the before spacing to 36. And the after spacing to 18 just for this paragraph. And notice that I can either use the up and down arrows or I can type it in. And then I'm going to go to the Home tab and click the center button to center the text on the page. And then I'm going to go to the font launcher box, again this little box in the lower right hand corner of the font, and I want to change the font to bold. And notice I can change this all within this box, and the font size to 24. And in the effects area, I'm going to check this small caps, and this is the only place you're going to find the small caps is in this font launcher box. The font color, I want to change to blue-gray text 2. And for some reason, I don't have blue-gray text 2. There we go. There's blue-gray text too. Notice I'm not going into this ombre section. I'm just selecting the blue-gray text too right here. And then I'm going to go down and click the Advanced tab, or go up and click the Advanced tab. And I'm going to click the spacing drop down and change it from normal to expanded and by 1.2. And I'm going to click OK. Step 7, I'm going to go to the last paragraph in the document, the one that starts with SPCCD was a, and I want to select that, and I'm going to select it again, dragging down the left margin, and I'm going to cut it by using the scissors here. I could also use Control X, and that removes it. The difference between cut and copy is copy would leave it in that spot also. And I'm going to put my insertion point up here at the top. Definition of online learning modalities, to put my insertion point there. And then I'm going to press the paste or Control V to paste that paragraph there. And at the beginning of it, I'm going to go back up and put my cursor in front of that, and I'm going to type, where are we now with online learning? Question mark, and press enter. If I make a typo, I'm going to go ahead and fix that as I go along. Notice it gives me a correction. I use that correction. And then it tells me in step 7F that I want to select the paragraph that begins with hybrid courses or hybrid course. And I want to move that. And it tells me to move it using the drag and drop. Once I have it selected, I can actually come here and drag it so that it goes before the one of television. And I notice that when I drag it, I put my cursor. Now I could also copy and paste that, or cut and paste that, just like I did before. Either way will work. It's just showing you two different methods. We are on step 8, and I want to select that first section heading, where are we now with online learning? And I'm going to go to my font launcher again, and I want to change the font size to 12 point, and I want to change that font color to blue-gray text too. And then I'm going to click the all caps in the checkbox, and I'm going to click OK to close out of that. And that changes the font for that paragraph heading. If I wanted to do that again, I could do all those steps again, but once I find something I like, one of the things that I can do is use the format painter. That's this little paintbrush right here. And if I click it one time, it will stay on for one use. If I double click it, which is what I'm going to do, it stays on. See how the little gray box is on it? And then my little paintbrush comes up, and I can actually come right here and click next to any of the paragraphs that I want to put it in. And that's all I want to do, so now I'm going to turn it off. And notice I didn't have to remember what the colors and the fonts and the size and all that things was in order to do it. Now we're going to format these headings here, the online course. And I do have to drag over that text. And I'm going to go again to my little font launcher box, and I'm going to change the font style to bold, and I'm going to change the color to blue-gray text 2. And I'm going to make them small caps. And I'm going to click OK. And again, double click on my format painter. Oops, I didn't click fast enough. And then my little paintbrush comes up and I drag over the text that I wanted. Hybrid courses and television, tele, and web courses, and then web enhanced courses. And then I turn my format painter off. And that's the end of page 2 of my instructions. I'm on step 11. I'm going to go to File and Save to save my work, just to be sure that I don't miss anything. Then I'm going to use Control plus the Home button, or just drag up to the top of my document. And in step 11, I'm going to do a spell check. So I go to the Review tab, and I spell check the document. And I'm going to go to the spelling corrections. And I'm going to go through these. I want to change management, so I change that. And I want to change potion to portion. And I'm going to fix the grammatical error. And then it gives me some refinements for conciseness, and I'm actually going to ignore those. And my spelling and grammar check is complete. I click out of that. And now I want to italicize the section that's in parentheses at the top of my document. I'm going to go to the Home tab, turn my paragraph markers off. And I can see that I want to include the parentheses here. It's a little hard sometimes with my mouse to make sure that I'm selecting just the text within the parentheses. And I'm going to italicize that by clicking the I button in the font group. And then I'm going to go to the File tab, and we're going to add some document properties. On the File tab in the Info, here's my properties right here. And the things that I'm going to do, I'm going to go down and select Show All Properties. And I'm going to, in the title area, where it says Add a Title, I'm going to type in online learning information. And in the subject area, specify a subject, online learning. And in the author area, see where it says add an author, and notice my name's already there. So I add an author, and it's Tanisha Morris. And it's not, there we go. And that's in there. And then I have added those, and I can use my back arrow to go back to my document. One more time, File and Save. And the last thing that I always do is go to the File Print, because that gives me a preview of my document, and I can actually compare it to the document in the instructions and make sure everything looks exactly right before I turn it in. And that is the end of this assignment.